guys, it's Judie here with my life as Kikay, and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be sharing with you and swatching my entire Juvia's Place eyeshadow palette collection. On this channel, I create videos on product reviews, makeup tutorials, and lifestyle advice with the aim to entertain, educate, and enrich the lives of others. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I'd love for you to join the Kikay family, and if you're returning here to my channel, then welcome back. Like I said before, I am going to be doing a full swatch and mini review of every single one of my Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes. Other than the newest eyeshadow palette that Juvia's Place created in collaboration with Fumi, that's the only one that I do not have. I have every single one of Juvia's Place's eyeshadow palettes that they have come out with to date. But knowing Juvia's Place, it won't be long now before they come out with another great eyeshadow palette. I've been meaning to do an updated swatch video of all these eyeshadow palettes, and the only thing that kept me from doing that was the fact that Juvia's Place kept on coming out with new eyeshadow palettes every so often, and when I went to film it, I'd be like, oh, but I don't have the new one, I don't have the new one. But I don't have the new one. But I'm going to be filming this video for you guys today anyway. I have already created this video in the past. I will leave that first one in the description box down below or in the info card up here if you want to watch it. But since filming that video, I have since then purchased all the other eyeshadow palettes that I didn't own. Other than the Fumi eyeshadow palette, I own every single one of Juvia's Place's eyeshadow palettes to date. I'm obsessed with Juvia's Place. The quality of their eyeshadows are really good. The palettes for what you get are also actually very affordable. Not only that, if you are patient and wait a little bit, every so often Juvia's Place has some really decent sales going on their website in which you can pick up the eyeshadow palettes for a much more affordable price, although they are already kind of affordable to begin with. On top of that, there are also discount codes and coupon codes floating around the internet where you can save a little bit of extra money whenever you purchase these eyeshadow palettes. Also, it's kind of good to know that Juvia's Place has a 6 eyeshadow palette bundle available on their website. You will be getting the Nubian palette, the Nubian 2 palette, the Masquerade Mini, the Magic Mini, which is not this one, this is the larger Magic, the Zulu palette, and the Saharan. So these are the 6 palettes that come in the bundle, which if you purchase the bundle, save some money on the eyeshadow palettes across the board on average, and then give away the eyeshadow palette that you already have as a present. Especially, it's kind of scary to think that Christmas isn't far away now. Save that eyeshadow palette and give it to your friend as a present. These make absolutely beautiful presents. They are not only really good quality eyeshadows, but the packaging is just so aesthetically pleasing. I mean, look at this. It's just really, 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 really pretty. And I would be absolutely thrilled if I received any of these palettes as a present. If you're wanting to purchase Juvia's Place and you haven't yet and you don't know which one to buy because, I mean, there are so many, then I'm hoping maybe the information in this video will be able to help you with your purchasing decision and help you purchase the right palette for you. It's going to be a little bit of a long one because I'm going to be swatching every single one of these eyeshadow palettes, but I'm going to try and get through it as quickly and efficiently as I possibly can. And so, let's go. So the first eyeshadow palette that I'm going to be sharing with you today is the Masquerade palette. So the reason why I purchased these 2 eyeshadow palettes is because I'm extra and I wanted to have both of them in my collection. This is the comparison of the 2 palettes together, and these are the size of the pans in comparison. I've been using the smaller one because I just wanted to dig into the smaller one and not ruin the large one. What I really love about this palette is that there are the matte shades that you can definitely use for the crease work, and then there are the brighter shimmery pops of color that you can use to dress up the look. What I really love about the Juvia's Place, and this goes for all of the palettes I've found, after using and experimenting and playing with every single one of these palettes, what I really love about all of their eyeshadows is that they blend in seamlessly together, but not fluff in together that when you create the look, they just blend into each other and look muddy and you can't see the one individual color that you've placed down. They blend in together nicely, but they don't look muddy when you blend them in together, if that makes any sense at all. So this Masquerade palette you can do so many creative looks with. I wish I had more time and inspiration to play with them all. The only thing to note is that a lot of these shades are so incredibly pigmented that they will stain your eyelids, especially the pink and the purple. So one way to remedy that is to lay down an eyeshadow base first, like a good thick creamy concealer, and set it down with powder before going in with your eyeshadow so that there is a barrier between your eyeshadows and your skin. So now I'm going to swatch every single one of these shades for you. This is Chi, Mali, Dahlia, and Zola, Makeda, Zobo, Calabar, and Bon, Giza, Burkina, Cairo, Ada, Dahlia, Zulu, Casablanca, Fulani. And these are the swatches in the Masquerade palette. The next palette is the Magic palette. I think you can only purchase the Magic Mini now on the website. I don't think they have the larger version available anymore, but you can purchase it in the mini version, which will be the same size as this Masquerade Mini. If I have any videos, which I have all the videos creating eyeshadow looks from each of these palettes, I'm going to leave the playlist of my Juvia's Place eyeshadow looks in the description box down below, so you can check all of them out if you want to see what looks you can create from any of these palettes. So this Magic palette has two color families. We have the cool tone shades here and the warm tone shades up here. It is so freaking pretty, and this is one of my favorite palettes from Juvia's Place. In the first row, we have Nubia, Zakia, Osun, Kessie. On the second row, we have Zuba, Nana, Boronu, Kogi. On the fourth row, we have Faso, Aja, Vai, and Yemoja. I love that shade. And on the fourth row, we have Ife, Yara, Buzo, and Yejidi. And these are the swatches from the Magic palette. The next palette is the Nubian. Now this is probably the most neutral eyeshadow palette that Juvia's Place has come out with, other than the Warrior 1 and the Warrior 2, which is these two, and I'll get to these in a minute. These ones blend really nicely. I feel like the formula in this one particular palette may be a little bit different from all the other palettes. They still blend nicely, but they don't blend as smoothly as the other ones. You can still create a really beautiful eyeshadow look using this palette. This may be more of everybody's go-to rather than any of the other eyeshadow palettes in this collection, because they are all very vibrant and brightly colored palettes. So there are 4 matte shades in this palette, which are great for the crease and transition work. Then you have 5 really shimmery pops of color, which you can use to jazz up any eyeshadow look you come up with. And then we have 3 of the more satiny type of eyeshadows, which are these ones here. So you have a range of different finishes in this palette. You could create a really smoky look using this dark shadow here in the corner as well. So you could definitely create a plethora of different eyeshadow looks, regardless of the fact that it is very, very neutral. The only thing that I don't like about these, besides the fact that they do blend a little bit differently than the other palettes, is that they have no shade names. That makes me really sad. Like, one of the standout things from Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes is the fact that they have really gorgeous, beautiful names. This palette doesn't have shade names, so I'm just gonna swatch it and you can see what they look like. And these are the swatches from the Nubian palette. I'm glad I didn't wear white in this video. I wore white in the first swatch video I did, and that was a really bad idea. The next palette is the Nubian 2. I'm actually in love with one eyeshadow in this entire palette, and it's this blue shade here. It is so freaking pretty. I really should create more looks using this one blue eyeshadow. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 8 shimmery shadows and the rest are matte. And yeah, now I'm gonna swatch it for you, because that's what we're all here for, right? Also, while I'm swatching and picking up the shadows, the shimmery ones are really, really soft, and they pat out so beautifully on the eyelids. Another thing that I really love about the shimmery shadows, you know how sometimes you apply a shimmery shadow on your eyelid, and the more you build it up, the more chunky it feels? It doesn't do that with the Juvia's Place shimmery eyeshadows. They just blend and build beautifully on top of each other. They don't go chunky and make your eyelid look like aluminum foil, if you know what I mean. If that's happened to you before, then you know what I'm talking about. So on the first row, we have Morocco, Madagascar, Sheba, Ya. On the second row, we have Jezebel, Zuri, Cleopatra, love this one, and Nefertiti. And on the third row, we have Nairobi, Leila, Kenya, Egypt. And these are the swatches from the Nubian 2. The third palette is the Nubian 3 Coral Eyeshadow Palette. Now this is one of their more recent releases, but I am sharing it earlier in the video because I've just shared the Nubian 2, and now this is the third in the Nubian family. This is another one of those palettes that don't have any shade names. It is a little bit more of a neutral type of palette. It's not one of the palettes that you like really badly need in your life. It's probably more the packaging than anything. If you're someone who loves to collect Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes like myself, like my Juvia's Place eyeshadow palette are one of my most favorite things in my entire makeup collection. I didn't need this palette. I mean, no one really needs all of this makeup, but I did want to have this in my collection because it is so incredibly beautiful. The shades are really pretty, and they actually go really nicely with my own personal skin tone. You have 6 matte shades in this palette and 6 shimmer shades. We have the pops of cool tone shades here, where you could use that in your transition, and then these 2 on your lid and you are good to go. You could also create a more warm look, these shades here in your crease and transition, and then applying these 2 on your lid as a pop of shimmer. You can create a lot of looks using this palette, and now I'm going to swatch it for you. And these are the swatches from the Nubian 3 Coral eyeshadow palette. The next one I'm sharing is the Saharan. Now this one has a little bit of a weird color story to me anyway, personally, I feel. I'm not entirely sure what the thought process was when creating the layout of colors or even the choice of colors in this particular palette. It just doesn't really scream out to me, buy me, use me, because this is the one palette out of my entire collection that I kind of tend to forget about because it just doesn't really seem to be calling out my name. I mean, no doubt I'm sure you can create several eyeshadow looks using these colors, but just for some reason it doesn't appeal to me like literally any of the other eyeshadow palettes in the Juvia's Place range appeal to me. In this palette we have 4 matte shades and all the rest are shimmers. The quality of the shadows are the same, the quality of the shimmers, they blend beautifully, they build beautifully. The only complaint I have is that I'm not blown away by the layout or the choice of colors in this particular palette. What I do love about it though is that it is one of the smaller palettes and it has shade names, so that's a good thing. Sokoto, Wodaabi, Bororo, Kia, Zoya, Iman, that's a really pretty one. Jamilia, Senegal, Chad, Katsina, Lulu, and Fula. That's a really pretty one too. So those are the swatches from the Saharan palette. So there are some really pretty individual shades in this palette, like the shade Iman, that would make a really beautiful pop of shimmer right on the middle of the eyelid in like a dark vampy halo type of look. Pop that right in the center, it'll just open up the look like bam in your face. So it has some absolutely really gorgeous individual shadows. It's just all together as a color story in the one palette. I'm not blown away by it. But the quality of the shadows are, just like any of the others, really good. So there's that. Ooh. This Saharan palette retails for $20 US. I personally wouldn't spend $20 US on this one palette. I would definitely spend it on any of the others, just not this one. The next palette is the Saharan 2. Now, unlike the Saharan 1, this one really gets me. This one is like my bae, almost. What I really truly love about this palette is this deep burgundy shadow. It is a matte shadow, but this looks absolutely gorgeous on the eyes. Now, like any of the others, this particular shade will stain your eyelids. So again, apply base before you go in with any of these more pigmented shadows in these palettes, or any of them in general. It's got the 3 cohesive matte shades, which are great again for the crease and transition work, and then you can really jazz up the look with the 6 shimmers that are included in this palette as well. So let's have a swatch. I have Marrakesh, Aziza, Hadia, Berber, Nomad, Chef Shawouen, Fez, Zora, and Taza. Look at how beautiful these shades are though. And these are the swatches from the Saharan 2 palette. When I was putting my finger in it to swatch this particular shade here called Zora, I think this might be the only shadow you might have a little bit of difficulty building and blending up. Because it is a deep pigmented red shadow, you may have a little bit of trouble blending it up because reds and purples are 2 incredibly difficult pigments to formulate, especially matte shades. My experience with this has been good. You just need to build it up a little bit more. It feels just a little tiny a little bit more chalky than these two matte shades here. So that's just my little bit of feedback. It's still really good. You just have to be a little bit more patient when working with this deep burgundy shade here. The next palette is the Festival palette. Now just looking at this palette makes me really happy. I mean, look at the packaging on this thing. And look at the colors in this palette. Bright pops of pink, a bit of orange, a bit of red, a bit of teal, green, blue. I don't know. I see this color especially different from other people. Comment down below if you think it's green or if you think it's blue, or if it leans more blue than green or more green than blue. Let me know. Let me know. I might be colorblind. Who knows? Anyway, for me personally, I feel if you are new in makeup, this particular one might be a little bit daunting to you. If you're watching this video because you're trying to decide which Juvia's Place eyeshadow palette that you want to go with, this may possibly not be the one for you if you're not entirely sure how to utilize these colors. But if you're trying to be adventurous and out there with color, then definitely go for it. Look at the packaging too. I'm obsessed. Probably more with the packaging in this palette rather than the colors themselves, but the colors are really beautiful, and again, formula is really beautiful, and we are now going to have a swatch of this palette. Izafa, Yuli, Ofala, Mumanwu, Iriji, Oro, Keleke, Aba, Adogu. Ooh, I love this one. And those are the swatches from the Festival palette. The shade Yuli would be absolutely gorgeous as a highlight on a really fair person. The next palette is the Douce eyeshadow palette. This one also retails for $20 US. It is very appropriately named Douce because dulce, duce, it means sweet. The names in this palette are really sweet. They're named after desserts, as you will see when I call them out later on. It reminds me of unicorns. It reminds me of like makeup for little girls, although I wouldn't recommend putting makeup on little girls. But you know what I mean? Like, it reminds me of the color palette of a very cute little girl nursery. That's what it reminds me of. It's just really sweet. There are 5 matte shades and 4 shimmer shades, and looking at the color story in this palette, it probably may or may not be a little bit difficult to create an eyeshadow look with it. I like that it has one dark shadow to be able to deepen up any look that you create with it. There is this one shade here. From memory, this one was a little bit difficult to blend and build up. The pigmentation is still there, but because it is a purple, besides the Jeffree Star eyeshadow palettes, I've yet to find another brand of eyeshadows that can do a purple really well that doesn't go patchy. I personally wouldn't say that it's something that you definitely need in your eyeshadow palette collection as far as practicality and usability goes, but again, if you are a collector like me of the Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes, it's a really pretty one to have. On the first row we have Chocolat, Tarte, and Creme. On the second row we have Macarons, Custard, and Puff. And on the third row we have Berry Mousse, Mont Blanc, and Crepes. And those are the swatches from the Douce palette. Now the next palette is the Warrior palette. This is probably one of their more wearable neutral eyeshadow palettes. I know it is very popular because of that fact. A lot of people are scared away by the bigger, brighter pops of color. And fair enough, if you are someone who is purchasing these palettes for the practicality's sake and actually wanting to be able to wear the shadows, more brown neutrals just makes more sense. And so that's what the Warrior palette is. The only thing about this palette though is that it only has 3 matte shades for the crease and transition work. But having said that, the 3 matte shades in this palette have a dark one, a medium one, and a light toned one. So you can definitely use these 3 shadows to create the dimension and the base for your look, and then use the other 6 shimmer shades to dress up the look. On the first row we have Amina, Idia, and Mino. On the second row we have Ahosi, Moremi, and Kano. And on the third row we have Dahomey, Bakwa, and Benin. And those are the swatches from the Warrior palette. And now that brings us to the Warrior 2 eyeshadow palette. Again, this one is a more wearable neutral type of eyeshadow. Obviously because of the browns, the more neutral shades. Nothing too crazy, no big bright pops of color. But this is more of a palette that anyone can go to on a daily basis and create a whole lot of different looks using. Now, what I also really love about this palette is that it is all matte shades. This is the only palette that Juvia's Place has come out with that is all purely matte shades. Not only that, I have used this palette for more than just eyeshadows. I've used the black shade as eyeliner. I've used this cool tone brown shade as a bit of contour as well. This shade Yodet I have used as bronzer, and this one as a very light type of bronzer as well. And also this whitish shade here as an under eye highlight. So depending on your skin tone, you may also not only be able to use this as an eyeshadow palette, you can also use it as an all over face palette. And there are no rules in makeup. Just because it has the name eyeshadow doesn't mean you only have to use it on your eyes. So that's another thing that I really love about this Warrior 2 eyeshadow palette. So having said all that, let's have a swatch. On the first row we have Yodit, Kufuru, and Walzana. On the second row we have Dayura, Zama, and Jamata. And on the third row we have Shawata. That is such a true black. I love it. Kana and Zaz. And those are the swatches from the Warrior 2 palette. Now the next palette is the Zulu palette. Now this one may be daunting for a great many people for very obvious reasons. It is nowhere near the most wearable palette in the world. As you can see, all these bright pops of color are a little bit not very wearable everyday colors. But if you are someone who wants the brighter, more colorful things in life, then you will want to have the Zulu palette in your life. The only color that I have found that I have trouble with applying, can you guess which one it is? Yes, it is the purple eyeshadow. This one's a little bit patchy, it blends off, it doesn't really stick to the skin. I don't know what it is about purple pigments, but I have found it so difficult to find one that blends perfectly and actually adheres to the skin on my eyelid. Some of these just blend right off and you're left with a tiny little bit of a hue of purple, but not the real vibrant purple that you can see in the pan here. So again, a beautiful palette, not very everyday wearable friendly. One shadow is a little bit of a dud. The rest of them are beautiful. Oh, and also this palette doesn't have names. I don't know why these shades don't have names. It's one of the bigger palettes and it's a perfect opportunity to come up with something really interesting, but I don't know, they just don't have shades. I don't know, they just don't. My hands are so manky now. First row. Second row. Really love this one. And third row. As you can see, the purple one's just flaking right off. The more I blend it in, the more it just kind of fades. Whereas the other ones get more intense, the more I swatch it into the skin, whereas this one just kind of like fades. So those are the swatches from the Zulu palette. Now the next one is the Afrique palette. Now while I must admit I am absolutely in love with this stunning packaging and presentation of this palette. Look at the bright vibrant orange on the front and the bright blue on the inside and this incredible pattern on the lid. I must admit the color story itself does not scream to me, use me. The color story is beautiful, it's definitely there, but the collection of colors themselves don't really appeal to me in the I gotta have this on my eyes stat right now type of way, if that makes any sense. The item itself as a collectible in my collection is a good one to have. Like, it's really pretty, but it's not one of those things that I would need in my life to go out and wear on an everyday basis. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on this palette. The only one that's just a little bit patchy is this one here, the shade Bintu, and again, because it is more reddy, burgundy, purpley type of shade almost. I have done one look using this on my channel, but I feel like maybe I need to give it another chance and try another look, because I was not madly in love with the look that I came up with using this one. Like I said before, the colors don't really appeal to me, so maybe I wasn't feeling very inspired when I created that video, but I'm gonna have to have a play with it again and see what else I can come up with. So on the first row, we have Cote d'Ivoire. That blue one's a little bit patchy. Dakar, Niger, and Togo. On the second row, we have Bintu, Cotonou, Aya, and Cameroon. And on the fourth row, we have Angelique, Kisi, Fifi, and Kofi. And those are the swatches from the Afrique. Now, I don't know if you noticed while I was swatching those shadows before, the matte ones were kind of patchy, I must say. Like, maybe that's why I wasn't really impressed with this palette when I first got it. While it is stunning. It's very visually pleasing to me. The shades themselves don't really scream out, I'm quality, please use me. I don't know what it is about these particular ones. This is probably the most pigmentation-wise disappointing palette out of all of the Juvia's Place palettes for me personally, I feel anyway. The blue shade Côte d'Ivoire, it's just really patchy. It's blending right off, almost like that purple shade was from the Zulu palette. What else? The shade Aya, the yellow one, is just a little bit patchy as well, and it's just flaking right off. I think maybe you could make it work just trying to build up the color, but it's not a very bright, vibrant type of yellow. And if you're using a yellow in any type of look, chances are you want it to be a bright, vibrant type of yellow. And the shade Kisi, this one here, it barely showed up. You kind of have to like really build up that color. So anyway, I don't really think that this is a particular palette from the Juvia's Place collection that you need in your life. There are definitely better ones that you can spend your money on, especially since this one usually retails for $20 US, just like all of the others. You can spend your money in better places, I feel anyway. So yeah. And we are on the last palette. This one is the Tribe palette, and this one is the last one, but not the least one. Check out this color family. Oh my goodness. If you love green, especially love green on your eyeballs, then this is what your dreams are made of. This Tribe palette, it's predominantly green, as you can see. Neon green palette cover. The greens in the palette stand out at you, but if you really look at it, only 4 of the shades are green. If you really look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is probably more of a bright neon yellow type of green. It doesn't swatch very nice, but it stands out like bam on your eyes. When I applied this on my eyes, I was really surprised. It showed up to work, honey.
It was like, bitch, I'm here, I'm pigmented, I have come to work on your eyelids, honey.
So all the others I rushed out and bought, but this one I put off buying for the longest time because I wasn't into green eyeshadow. But you know what, I wanted to have it in my collection, and I was like, why not? And I bought it, and I was really super impressed with the ways that these greens applied on my eyes. So now let's have a swatch. I really actually love this palette. If you discount the greens in this palette, if you don't like greens on your eyes, you can also really create a very wearable look just using these. And then if you wanted just a bit of muted green on your maybe lower lash line, just for still a bit of color but not too much color, you could blend that out in your crease as well. So yeah, I'm gonna shut up and let's just have a swatch, because this video is already a 500 million years long. First row we have Maasi, Oromo, and Tutsi. I love that name, Tutsi. Second row we have Koro, love this one, Chaga, and Kuba, love this one too, so pretty, oh my goodness, so freaking pretty. And on the third row, we have Ashanti, Kurla, and Sun. Love this one here too. So freaking pretty. And those are the swatches from the Tribe palette. I'm gonna show you guys just how messy this was to film. I have these little eyeshadow particles all over my table, and I've been cleaning as I've been going along as well. All these wipes. And this white towel ain't white anymore. That's all those palettes. So that completes this video. It's probably already really long, so I'm not gonna draw it too much longer. I'm just gonna thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. And if you found this video helpful in giving you the information that you were looking for in trying to decide which palette to purchase for yourself, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. I create a lot of videos using these Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes. And again, I'm going to leave the link to the playlist of anything to do with Juvia's Place. I'm going to leave the link to that playlist listed up here or in the description box down below, so you can go check them out. If you want any more information about any of these palettes and the different makeup looks that I have created using every single one of these eyeshadow palettes. So thank you guys for watching. If you're still here at the end of this video, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much. I really truly appreciate that you've chosen to spend your time here with me today. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye! Oh man, this video is gonna be so long. This is gonna be fun to edit. You can save that eyeshadow palette. Hoping maybe this video I absolutely detest. I don't detest. I love these. I'm gonna have a very stained arm after this. And you can mix. Where am I going with that? What's my point? My point is that they've come. Festival palette by Juvia's Place. I mean, duh. All of these are by Juvia's Place, but. I'm so hungry. Swatches. I need to stop eating sugar. This one is the Try palette by Juvia's Place. I mean, yes, they're all by Juvia's Place. This is what green dreams are made of. What? No. What does that even mean? Eyes hurt so bad. Why is my face so white? I think it's because I forgot to bronze under here. It's only finished now. If you enjoyed it and if this video was helpful and maybe and if this video was informative and helpful in that you need in deciding which palette for you to purchase, in deciding which let's get on with it. Let's get on with it.